What's up, guys? Josh Lau with the Card Guys here with Nathan Crawford, and today we're going to bring you guys a little bit of bonus content. So, last week, or was it last week at this point, Nathan? I
I
think
don't
it's
even
I
remember. I was so tired.
I think it was last week. We commentated the Hong Kong Nationals, which was CC and draft. But at the end of Swiss on day two, there was also a PTI event. Um, Now, as you can see by the title, the PTI event was Blitz, and skirmish season coming up is Blitz. I know they have a shiny CMH that Nathan you're trying to get, so maybe these are going to be
Absolutely.
instructional games. Hong Kong does take Blitz pretty seriously, so yeah, we'll see how this goes. So we're gonna bring you guys one quarterfinal game, one semifinal game, and the finals, of course. So up first we have Singh playing Rhinar, went 4-2 in Swiss up against Manhung playing Kayo, who first seed clean 6-0 sweep of Swiss. So let's just jump into that right now. All right, guys, this is the quarterfinals, and we have a KO versus Reinhardt. Nathan, I think this should be pretty explosive. Obviously, we're starting at 20 life. Blood Rush Bellow, extremely strong. I anticipate that the equipment should be mirrored because the Savage Stash is quite good in Blitz in Reinhardt, especially those one-off
hmm
effects like Courage of Blade Hold and Savage Stash would be much stronger in this format. Um, I guess most of our experience comes from CC, Nathan. You know, it's so funny looking at these deck sizes. We're like, is that a draft deck?
It does
uh,
seem that way.
yeah. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how these two operate in CC, because I think a lot of this is going to carry over to Blitz.
The biggest thing that I see just on the board right now is when you think brute, or at least I do, I kind of like focus on scaling fleshback, right?
Hmm.
Because it's one of the most impactful pieces. And when I saw this matchup specifically, I was like, well, on the surface, it seems like KO has the highest opportunity to be impacted more by a flesh bag than say Rhinar, because typically Rhinar will lay down a lot of the intimidate and then throw in an attack. And then usually, if you barraging attack into something, you're not really going to flesh bag anything. Obviously, the incorporation of agility and things like that are going to kind
Hmm.
of sway that a little bit. But just on the surface, it seems like maybe Rhinar is less susceptible to that disruption.
Hmm. So Manhung, being the higher seed, opted to go second, which traditionally can be very dangerous against Reinhardt, but I think more of with the inclusion of the heavy hitters cards, we're seeing a little bit of Reinhardt playing a little bit closer to KO and Blitz as opposed to like that OTK style. Um, so right off, we have a smash back into a wild ride, discarding the barraging, but I think he would have liked to play that barraging because he could have got an intimidate from the hero ability, plus he could actually play the barraging. So, um, all right. So going to discard the agile windup, going to activate Reinhardt, banishing a card. And I guess we're going to have to keep a close look on the amount of no blocks that both decks run. Looks like there's a reckless swing in Manhung's hand. And
I actually really love that play
mm,
because basically he sensed the reckless swing, right?
mhm,
Because you know, uh, or maybe he did, depending on the timing. I don't know if the attack actually had resolved or not. But just
mhm.
being able to discard the windup and get that intimidate
Yep.
does have to come off an arsenal to do it. So that is kind of the you have to factor that into like the value proposition. But at the
Yeah,
same time,
he already
just
had an
having that ability is really good.
mhm. And he had an agility token already, so that's
hmm
mm, I guess that's not a very good arsenal target. Like I think he would have much preferred the barraging beat down at arsenal. Um,
Absolutely.
All right, so we got an E Strike from Kayo. This is a card that did not see play in CC generally. Of course, good old Bear Fangs, of course, on the value train. Gonna get that Might token from Kayo's hero ability. Um, I guess we didn't. Did we really see E Strike from KO in CC?
Yes, I would
Was
say
it?
that when they started the shift away from cast bones,
Ah, yes, yes,
uh,
yes. Towards the Savage
and,
Sash plan.
when Zen and New and they needed more like 2 card plays that were
Hmm.
really viable. Um,
Hmm.
and it doesn't really play super well with Savage Sash, but the one thing is like when you're not on tunic counter, you don't have access to those that clean, 2 cost into tunic counter claw or another two
Hmm.
cost or things like that. So E strike is just used to kind
Yeah,
of
that's
like
true.
smooth that over sometimes. It really just depends on the
Mhm.
list and what they
Ooh.
decide to lean on. Oh,
Oh,
discarding the skull crack.
what was that a skull crack? I thought he. What? Why is there a beast within in the banish?
Oh, he
Yeah,
discarded the beast within,
yeah.
drew the
Hmm.
skull crack.
Hmm.
That makes sense.
Yep. So he
That
took
makes
one
sense.
damage from the beast within. Yep. So pulping. So one of the things in Blitz is that uh, pulping, I think its stock rises because of the way that decks are constructed. They often have to allocate a lot of resources towards the arcane heroes and then the equipment and all that. So you very rarely have 2 slots just lying around for sync belows. And even if you did, I think both brutes in this case would much prefer the reckless swing. So this pulping gonna have go again almost assuredly, and the card that he drew should be able to power uh should be able to power this turn. I think Skullcrack is a yellow, right? So if he wants to, he can
Skull
claw.
cracks are red.
Oh, Skullcrack's are red. My bad. Okay, so I guess it's gonna have to go to Arsenal, but not too bad. I think both players are gonna try to set up for a good Blood Rush Bellow turn. They're gonna try to incorporate the Savage Sash best as possible. I think Singh has used his equipment a little bit better because in blitz games you're not going to get that many opportunities to block with the Apex Bonebreaker. So
Right.
just getting that 2 value in terms of mites early, I think is very good. Um,
One thing specifically against Rhinar is you really want to get if you have any like uh temper or battle worn equipment, you really want to make sure that you get that first block in as
yes.
early as you possibly can because you want to keep that life total high in case they
Hmm.
have like the quad intimidate or the triple intimidate so that way you can jam the rest of your armor and kind of just stay alive basically because
Yep.
it can 20-0 you pretty quick
Yes.
if you get the big hand.
Yes. Very, very good point there. And looks like Manhung agrees with you. And he's like, well, I might as well get the block out of these. There's not very many on hits that are going to be coming over. Maybe a Command and Conquer, maybe a Send Packing. But other than that, well, speaking of Command and Conquer, there's a Command and Conquer in Sig's hand, pulping. Discard draw from Manhung. And going to discard an Agile Windup. Sure. Now that was a blue, so maybe, that might affect his resource curve this turn, but looks like he should be able to play out those 2 cards no matter what they are, unless it's a red and a 3 cost. So I think both players are just trying to set up that 5 card Blood Rush Bellow turn. Neither player has seen a Blood Rush Bellow, so we're kind of just playing fair and balanced flesh and blood as James White intended. And that favors KO just because a
Right.
might token is worth more than a intimidate. So this is very, very similar to draft. We're gonna have to see like heavy hitters draft. Rhinar was playing for those very synergistic hands. So I think it's important for Singh to block a little bit more until he sees the Blood Rush Bellow, and then he needs to have enough life to be able to execute that 5 card Blood Rush Bellow turn.
And
Of
one
course.
option from Reiner
Mhm.
here actually is the flesh bag is an interesting kind of
Yes.
point on this
Yeah.
block specifically because the KO player had the option to block with Apex and a card, but they
Mhm.
chose not to, which would indicate that they had every intention to use every single
Mhm.
card, especially when you involve the random discard into the situation.
Yep.
So it just so happens that both cards in his hand are 3 costs, so it would actually not be good to flesh bag, but
Mhm.
um, it's just an option that they have, and you could pop Sash and just go ahead and rip
The
the
beast
the
within.
3
Yeah.
cost. Yeah, it's not the most exciting way to use Sash, but it is
Mhm.
an option that you can just because you're getting 6 value from 1 card plus your Sash in that situation.
Yep. All right, time to play little two card back and forth. And well, Skullcrack certainly does attack. This is not exactly what you want to attack with, but it is an option. I think that's a Blood Rush Bellow and a Command and Conquer and a Swing Big. So there's not really synergy there. There's send packing to power the turn. Savage Sash does not reduce the cost of the Command and Conquer, right? So
It's all
ideally,
6s.
oh, all
That's correct.
sixes. Okay, so even
Yeah.
better. Okay, but ideally, I think Manhung is going to want to discard this Command and Conquer off this random because it does not benefit from the Bloodrush Fellow. And let's see if he gets lucky. Nope, discards the swing bid, so he's going to have to rely off the top of the deck. And all right,
Also,
he's
the Rhinar player doesn't realize how lucky they were blocking with that Command and Conquer because the KO player could have just let it on through, and that Beast Within would have went straight into the graveyard, triggered, give that KO player that 5th card in hand. So
wow.
very,
Yep.
very lucky to be blocking with
Yep.
that CNC
Yep.
to set up the
And
arsenal.
here we go. Savage Sash activated from KO. Looks like we got a Wild Ride, a Send Packing, and a Command and Conquer. In addition to I think that's a Beast Within in Arsenal.
Correct.
So he's going to be able to play out quite a bit of his hand. Obviously, the Wild Ride top priority because it is go again almost assuredly, especially considering he played the Reckless Swing. So I think there should be no more misses in his deck. So draw, discard, going to discard a random card.
Should be
And
one more Blood Rush Bellow is a miss, right?
oh, yes, one more Blood Rush Spell could be a
Yeah.
miss. So this could potentially be bad. Nope, just a Command and Conquer.
Oh,
So that is the
good
ideal
discard
draw.
though.
Yep. And looks like we got a pair of Sin Packings to
I thought that
deal.
other card
Was
is
it?
Rawhide
Is
Rumbler.
it?
Is it? I
Uh,
can't tell.
yeah, it could be.
Stop shuffling. It could be Sinpack. I don't know.
Yeah.
It looked like a Rawhide Rumbler, which
Mhm.
would be very interesting card in
Ooh.
KO.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. The
I
art is
can't.
different. So
I can't tell.
Flesh Bag going to interrupt or disrupt some of this turn. Um.
That is a Rawhide Rumbler. So
Mhm.
that's actually what I would consider more of like a Rhinar card.
Mhm.
For those of you who don't know, it basically has the uh, beat chest keyword where you can
Mhm.
discard a card and intimidate, basically.
Mhm.
In Rhinar, that's basically worth 2
That's
intimidate.
yep.
So
And that's probably tuned for the Blitz meta. So if you start off on turn 0, maybe you can squeeze some damage in or something like that, or at least get a might token on turn 0. So looks like we're just going to, I mean, getting to go 2 attacks wide. I don't think is what Manhung was hoping for off a Sash turn, but I mean, you can't really expect too much given the fact that Fleshbag was still sitting unused on the other side. And looks like Singh is just going to block a bit and probably just claw next turn. I think he has 1 card remaining in his hand, 1 in Arsenal. They're kind of overlapping a little bit, but yeah, let's see how he uses this. Looks like okay, just pack hunt. Why not? Intimidate could mess up his hand a little bit. But I think in general, KO does not really care. And he's not at a low enough life total where this is really going to matter. So I feel like Manhung is in a pretty good spot at the moment. The Reinhardt player still has not found a Blood Rush Bellow, and getting down to 7, going to be very difficult for him to execute a strong turn, especially, what Reinhardt's really looking for is that claw attack. That 5/5 into 8, something like that. And when he can execute that twice during the game, it's generally going to be a winning position, especially with Reckless Swing, finishing off the last 2 damage.
I
Very, very
think the
common
one
card pattern.
impactful thing of that pack hunt intimidate is it could have disrupted the apex block because the card that he intimidated could have been a crucial card to like get that might token with the block and whatnot.
Yep, swing big. Just going to block for 9. Get that quicken token. Put a card into arsenal. Didn't quite see what that was.
Looked like a wild ride, and I love this play because historically, Kayo, depending on the
Where's the quicken
hand,
token?
yeah, you don't want to lose that.
That's interesting because it's like, who's responsible for that, right?
Technically, both players.
Yes. So, and it looks like there is a judge at the table. So that's a little bit of a oopsie. Beast Within being discarded, revealing Agile Windup. Gonna put that into the hand. Looks like that's a blue. So gonna have plenty of cards or plenty of resources to deal with this turn. Pulping, putting him into range of almost into range of another Reckless Swing. Still has 3 cards at hand. And yeah, looks like a Claw for 3. Command and Conquer, gonna block that out. 2 more cards. Looks like this is a Command and Conquer that he could play. Looks like gonna go with the Arsenal instead.
Does have the ability to beat chest, although the safer option might just be to CNC.
He also could roll Scabs as well if he wants. Because he still has
you
2.
Could, but I think you're in such a good position. You don't really need to. It
Yep.
seems really unnecessary because all you're trying to do is just keep Kayo or keep Rhinar off of a
5-card Blood
like
Rush.
A 3,
yeah, or 3
or just a 3-card hand. Yeah. If you keep him down to 1 to 2 cards in hand, I think you're pretty safe at that life total with that much armor remaining.
Yep, you get to execute a favorable game plan. A little bit of indecision from Manhung. I mean, armor situation, if Singh has a no block in hand, he still has enough armor, I believe. I believe this, the Sash still has 1 block, the Apex has 1 block, and the Scabskin Leather still has a block. Looks like gonna go with the Rawhide Rumble. And gonna beat chest. And all the cards have to go forward. If that's a no block in hand, it's gonna hurt. Oh, go down to 1. Agile Windup, discarded. Gonna make a Might, gonna make an Agility.
The key part is it was just enough damage to force that the chest piece to break, which means if there was like a play where you could break chest, play a 2 cost for 1, and then to another 2 cost, that's no longer.
Oh, and he caught him with the no block, and the pulping does not dominate because he revealed the Reckless Swing. So it looks like Singh is just gonna give this game up, and nice and quick game there, as Blitz always is. Any quick takeaways there, Nathan, about that game?
I think Rhinar was just wanting a little bit more on the first turn. I think that's very important for Rhinar's strategy is to leak at least some value, preferably without giving up the arsenal to do so. And it seems like in this matchup he didn't leak and took 2 damage and came off an arsenal, which is not not the start you want.
Yeah, that's not the start you want. All right, guys, thanks for joining us for this quarterfinals. We will bring you guys the semifinals in the next video. See ya. What's up, guys? Josh Law here with TheCardGuyz, and with me, as always, my good friend Nathan Crawford. Today, we're going to be bringing you guys the semifinals from the PTI Plus event from Hong Kong that went down last week. So for this semifinals, we have 2 players that both of us know pretty well. We have Jack Tang playing Rhinar. This is a match that I've played against Jack Tang's Rhinar 30, 40 times, like in actual matches. So very, very familiar with that. Glad to see that he's still on Rhinar. And up against him is Bun, one of the, I mean, he was this is a rematch of the 2021 finals, Nathan.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, good players rise to the top. We see them often. So Bun is
Yeah.
going to be playing Dash. This is a hero that he really adores. I remember he top 8'd the world's battle hardened,
Hmm.
going like 8-2 or 9-1 in that event. And I think he got to the semifinals of the world's battle hardened playing Dash. So he's very, very familiar with Dash. Obviously, Nathan, I think you have some stories about him kicking your ass with Kato. He's
Hmm.
kicked my ass with Kato lots, but
Yeah.
not Kano today, but he is bringing out an OG playmat. I remember when he got this playmat in Hong Kong, the Whisper of the Oracle playmat. This is his favorite one. All right, let's just jump into it. Rhinar versus Dash coming at you right now. All right, Rhinar versus Dash. Now, I think this game is going to depend heavily on who goes first, who goes second. I believe that let me quickly check. Uh Jack was 6th seed, went 4-2. Bun is 7th seed, also went 4-2. So Jack is going to have the option, and see, here's the thing. So Dash, I mean, you don't really want them to go second because they're probably playing Boost Dash,
Right.
especially in Blitz.
Right.
Then if you let them go first, they could, put a Teklo Pounder on the table, and then you're like, oh god. Or I mean, if they draw Spark of Genius, that's Teklo Pounder as well. So
Hmm.
not easy, but I think Jack is going to take the risk and choose to go second, unless his deck is constructed to take advantage of going first very heavily, like we talked about in the quarterfinals. I think Reinhardt's are built a little bit more towards, especially with heavy hitters, more value, and
Hmm.
less on like try to kill you on turn 0. Or try to leak 8 damage. Although I do know that Eugene, shout out to Eugene. I know he loves to play a little bit more aggressive turn 0 style, try to leak damage on turn 0. And he top 8'd this event too. He sent me his deck list. I might try that out for skirmish season. So I guess it's just going to come down to how Jack built the deck. So I'm going to be interested to see that.
I agree.
Um, Nathan, do you think we're going to see what weapon do you think we're going to see Dash flip over? Because I think there are some options in Blitz.
In Blitz, if I had to guess, it would be either Talishar or just load up. You could go Talishar or Hanabi Blaster.
Mhm.
I think is kind of you just want to go
Yep.
kind of situation. But with that being said, Jack is already at a disadvantage because his weapons are touching. I
Oh
don't
no!
know what
Oh,
it is.
dude, putting
Yeah,
rubbed off on him, I
like
guess.
so he's already at a disadvantage for that. But yeah, I
Yep.
do agree with what you said.
Mhm.
I think the correct decision is based on deck construction,
Mhm.
on what's actually mathematically correct. However, the decision basically revolves around: do you want the high risk play of having a really strong
Mhm.
first turn, or kind of
Yep.
mitigate that risk
Mhm.
and go
Yeah.
second?
If I had to guess, I think Reinhardt is slightly favored in this matchup, mainly because you're never going to get off at max velocity as Dash against a competent Reinhardt like Jack.
Hmm.
He's just going to intimidate. Like if he gets a sense that you're trying to go, 3 boost wide, he's going to intimidate it, and it's basically impossible to get off a max velocity off 4 cards, unless he has a Tekla core or something really, really, really lines up well. I think this first max. If anybody can figure out a way to do it, it's Bud. But I anticipate that the very first. This is a 9.5 graded as well. That's got to be worth something too. Okay, looks like we got a Talishar and a Teklo Pounder.
Yep.
Balance of Justice, of course. Goliath Gauntlet, Teklo Heart, and
Oh,
ooh,
and
is
he
this
has the intimidate boots.
what in the world? Wait, what?
So that's
Oh,
that's the front line boots, and basically what it says is it blocks 2 with blade break, but like if you don't use it on your
0.
turn 0, it like it's a at the beginning of your turn
Ooh.
it gets a -1 counter.
Now that is really
So
smart.
it's basically just 2 free life. It was something that
Mhm.
I forget what deck was running it into, but it was specifically for Rhino. I
Oh
mean, this
god.
seems like a good play.
This
This
is
is that
big.
turn 1 that we were talking
This
about. This
this
is
is
exactly what
this
we
is
were talking
giving me
about.
Vietnam flashbacks here. Oh no.
That's 1 life. Oh, and he gets the alpha in hand and
Oh
draws
my
2 to pay for it.
god.
So no
Okay.
matter what, it's playable,
Yep.
which will be a double intimidate, which gets the entire hand no
Yep.
matter what. If he
Yep.
wants to go that route.
Yep. And well, Jack choosing to go first, like we said, he's the higher rank. He drew another Blood Rush.
Another, but he
Oh
can't
boy,
play
he
it because of the
can't play it
progeny.
unless he breaks the
Well,
Savage Sash.
he can play it if he
Yeah,
plays the barraging.
yeah.
But I think the barraging is blue, so I think that's perfect.
Yeah.
I think you can either play it or you have the ability to. I mean, there's just so many possibilities here.
Yep.
You could just go ahead and play that out. You can actually break Sash. No, you can't. You can't discard the. Well, you won't get the intimidate. You'll still yeet 9 at him. But I think with Sash and 2 floating, the bellow is actually relatively safe because if you rip 1 blue card, it's at least double claw for what?
Mhm.
A whole lot. I mean,
Yep.
Dash could be at 5 life at the end of this turn. It's very possible.
Oh boy, at a second blood, we're
Yeah.
seeing the high roll of high rolls here, boys. And
I
Bud-
really like this play though.
Bud is
He
like,
needs a blue.
really?
He needs a blue. If he draws a blue, no matter what the other card is, he's fine.
Mhm.
Has to draw a blue.
All right, what did Jack Tang draw? And there's the blue.
That's a blue.
Claw coming in for it's double Blood Rush brings
It'll
it
be
up to
It'll be
7.
4 plus 2 is 6 plus 3 is 9, 12. Yeah.
Yep. And well, turn 0 Balance of Justice, guys. Like Blitz, living up to its name, is an extremely fast format. And there we see those new leg piece. This was actually a tech that I remember. So Bun is a wizard player. Wizards used to run some of this equipment in like the arms and head slot because you could just die to Rhinar turn 0. And well, we might see that here.
Oh, he ripped the item.
He ripped an
item.
Yep.
Now, it's actually not the worst thing on the planet because he
it's
does.
A pounder. Oh boy.
Well, he does start his next turn with 5 cards in hand because you don't, in the game of Flesh and Blood, you don't have to discard down to 4 or anything like that. So his first turn, he will have a 5-card hand.
Well,
so
I mean, he's going to drop to his intellect. It's still Jack's turn.
Correct, but he hasn't blocked with a card. So when the intimidating
you're
cards
right.
come back,
you're right.
he'll have 5 cards. So
it's such a unique situation.
It does
I forgot about
suck.
this.
It does suck, but now he has a 5-card hand starting the game, which depending on what the cards are, it's actually not that bad.
Have you ever started the game at 7 life, Nathan?
No, and hopefully I don't have to.
Yep. Let's see what Bun can scrounge up here. And Jack, very eager to use his equipment. He's like, well, these are going in front of things, so let's go. Beaten Trackers, also the leg piece of choice. I think that is when that set came out, I called out that Beaten Trackers would be a very, very relevant card. Of course, it looks like it's only relevant in Blitz, but nice to see some underutilized cards seeing some play in Blitz. And Scowling Fleshbag going to take a card. And okay, Jack not wasting any time, gonna block with his complete fridge.
Now, I think the Beaten Trackers is kind of the Jack thing, right? Because historically Jack's played like a really mid-rangey kind of Rhinar. I think he was a real big fan of the club Rhinar kind of style.
He used to play Oldham, so the consistency.
Yeah. Exactly. He just goes with a more consistent piece.
He's like, well, you know what? 2 life doesn't matter that much in Blitz when you're dealing 13 through armor on turn 0. And I don't think Bun is going to be able to get a card from Jack's hand. And Jack is going to retaliate with a bunch of cards. T-Bone, boosting, just coming in for 1, unfortunately. Got a heart.
And that's the smart part. I think why Jack actually jammed the armor on the very first attack is to make sure that you don't get a 9 value on the T-Bones, especially the blue ones.
Yep, the blue T-Bones, yep. All right. Jack says, I could take it. And gonna start off with an agile windup, discarding that.
And he can throw the Savage Beatdown. And that'd be a triple A triple intimidate, right?
Oh, I mean, especially with the
Or a
barraging.
quad. Or a quad. Yeah,
Yeah.
that works too.
And yep, looks like he's just going to intimidate 3 times, I believe.
Yeah, just 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it does come in for
I mean,
12 plus the 4. It'll be
yep, still turns on the barraging beatdown. So yep,
yeah, it should be coming in for 16.
yep. And
I don't think blocking
I
3 saves you.
yeah, I don't think so. And well, the game
Ooh.
is already over, Nathan.
Way to go, Jack.
You know, Nathan, I think we need to drag this out for a little bit more so we can monetize this video because it's less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just joking. All right. Okay. I mean, that was not a very educational game, but that was a very entertaining game there. That really showcased just how fast Blitz could be. So yeah, GG to both players. I guess we'll bring you guys the finals in the next video. Thanks for watching.
Sounds good.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the PTI Plus event from Hong Kong. Today we're going to be bringing you guys the grand finals. Today we have Jack Tang piloting Rhinar against Kyrios Mac, who's going to be piloting Zen. Now, David, we saw just how strong Rhinar could be, but this is also, we're talking about Zen, and we're talking about 20 life, and that is just another Tuesday for Zen. So this game has potential to be very, very quick, and you know, this game could be kind of high rolly. Like it could really come down to the luck of the draw here.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right, let's not waste any time. Grand finals time. Let's go. All right, guys. Kyrios Mac, 4th seed, piloting Zen up against Jack Tang. A little bit of lower seed, so Kyrios is going to get to choose first or second. So this is kind of an interesting situation, Nathan, because if you go second, you have tempo, but if you let Rhinar go first, well, you know, well, ask Bud what could happen, especially considering that you have some transcend cards, you know. So yeah,
I think it's really risky, but
yeah.
I think you probably have to decide to go first.
Mm-hmm.
And then just hope that the Rhinar player doesn't draw like a wild ride or something like that. Because Rhinar, if he doesn't draw anything that discards, sometimes it can be very difficult to use 4 cards offensively.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe him starting with tempo is not the worst thing on the planet. But if you Zen's in a great spot if he can go first and transcend and kind of turn all of that on.
Yep. Well, Nathan, I'm also very, very curious to see if there are any differences between Zen decks in Blitz and Zen decks in Classic Constructed. So Classic Constructed, we saw, you know, heavy emphasis on the Descendant Bonds line. I wonder if that is going to be present in Blitz. Looks like we've got a pair of Zephyr Needles. So this could just be Curious taking his CC deck and chopping 3-2 and just saying, go, ship it.
I think the only equipment piece that's in question is maybe the traverse, because maybe the game doesn't go long enough for you to be able to transcend and use it that turn and then fetch it the following turn. So at the same time, you know, Mask the Pouncing Lynx, it's kind of situational depending on what your deck construction looks like.
Yep.
Most targets include Tiger Swipe and Blue Bonds.
Okay. I mean, I guess let's just see how this goes. So once again, the flesh bag going to be a critical piece of this puzzle, and that's an Art of War. Okay, looks like Curious is going first. So this the disaster averted potentially. Looks like a Descendant, and I believe that's a Tiger Swipe in the pitch zone. Gonna have to pitch his Sacred Art, Descendant, Gust Wave. Just gonna try to fill the graveyard a little bit, and most assuredly that Art of War is gonna go into the arsenal. And we see the new card coming out to block, and again, just Chase the Tail, not Tiger Swipe. Just gonna fill the graveyard a little bit, and Jack say, Beast Within, good card. I'm gonna keep that, and probably keeping a resource card as his other card. Gonna draw 2.
Is
Reckless
that Eye
Swing.
of Ophidia?
You're oh
in
yeah. Yeah, it
what
is.
a Chad.
What a
Holy
gamer. We got a gamer here. Okay, he has a reckless
I have
swing
a
at a
video
I mean he
in
has reckless swing
Rhinar.
and I have Ophidia. I mean, okay, so Jack I mean this is the exact polar opposite of the semifinals
Oh
game, right?
man. And this is kind of what I was referring
Mhm.
to when Reiner doesn't draw that discard or doesn't have an active discard
Mhm.
ability and or barraging. He just kind of can't use all his cards,
Yeah.
and this is a good example of
That's a
that. So,
plunder run, Nathan. You see that?
oh, I missed
Oh,
that. I missed
oh
that
my
card.
god. OG fans will remember Plunder Run. And you know what? Plunder Run and Art of War pretty good against a deck that can't just, add one defense really easily. I mean, Oldham not in the format anymore. So this
I
Plunder
may not.
Run,
I may not be a blitz expert, but I think those boots are going in, Josh. We got an Art of War in Arsenal. We got an Art of War in hand.
yep,
I mean, I think the boots at least have to go in.
yep. Stride of Reprisal gonna give Curios the food for Art of War, and Jack Tag unfortunately going to only be able to use one card. I think there's the Blood Spell, but I think he set a Reckless Swing into Arsenal. So I think this turn he's going to try to. Okay, Blood Run just being pitched just for the Art of War. Okay. First Art of War, banish, draw 2, +1 to the combat chain. And Flusterfist Descendant. Sorry,
Mhm.
Flusterfist Bonds. He has a Descendant in the graveyard, so
I think
still no
Fluster is the
starter, right?
weakest card here. Yeah, so I think we have to
Mm-hmm.
play the other Art of War,
Yep, dig a bit
but
deeper.
probably going to go ahead and play the 100 wins to get it on the combat chain to
Mm-hmm.
maybe extract a little bit more value. You do run the risk of making yourself more susceptible to
Flush.
flashback by
Mhm.
doing that, but
Yeah, I definitely would go with the double Art of War play in this situation. But looks like we're gonna go 100 wins and kind of play the Art of War as a reaction, most likely.
I do like that option because you don't want to
Yes.
commit with the Zephyr
Hmm.
Needles because if you commit with the Zephyr Needles and the flashback happens then, and
Hmm.
they get your resource card,
Hmm.
then it gets really awkward really quickly.
Hmm.
So I do kind of like this play to play it in reactions or in response to the intimidate trigger, and then
Hmm.
hopefully they just don't hit the starter that you hopefully draw.
Yep. And looks like Curious is just gonna let the intimidate happen, so he might hit the Art of War. And let's see what it was. We don't know. Oops, Art of War
Art
still
of War
there. Yep.
save.
Hmm.
Okay, this is fine. You can just banish the Fluster Fist and call it a day. So I think that was red bonds that was intimidated
Hmm.
away. And we still have a blue bonds, or it could be the opposite way around. There was two bonds in hand, one blue, one red, and I
Hmm.
think one remains.
Yep. And Jack, you cannot complain about this because of what you did to Bun in the semifinals. And it could be worse, right? Like you could have a transcend card here as well.
And here it is
And
with the
well,
100 wins after.
yep.
Oh man.
Oh
And
boy.
bonds is going to be online. Well, no, there's no more bonds possibility because he banished
Banish
it.
it. Yep.
But still a solid opportunity to go. I mean, you can play the well. I guess you would Zephyr. Then you have to go 100, get the pump on it, and then you can go transcend, get the extra resource, and you can go Zephyr, zero cost with the Tiger, like Tiger
Hmm.
Swipe, and then go into a Fluster Fist at the end. So
Hmm.
this is going to be a pretty big turn, but more importantly, he's transcending
Putting the
with
card
that traverse.
and pitching it
So
back
then
into
the
the deck.
next turn, he gets to do the exact same thing, have a
Hmm.
very explosive turn, which means if Rhinar can't put Zen in that situation to pressure the hand this next turn,
Hmm.
Rhinar's in trouble.
Yep. And we know he has a Blood Rush Bellow in hand, so he's not very incentivized to block this turn. But Zephyr Needles, they're just they present that catch-22 where it's like, all right, do I block this? Do I not block this? Looks like, okay, so we're gonna go grab a combo card from the deck. We're seeing a little bit of the composition of the deck. It looks fairly similar to what we saw in CC. There's a mauling key there. I think I saw an aspect of Tiger Body as well. There's the Bond's Descendants, the Ancestral Harmonies, several Transcend cards, Cyclone, 100 Winds, and let's see what he goes with.
Are they not on Tiger Swipes? Maybe
They may not be, depending on. I mean,
but I mean,
game.
doing it this way, technically, it is one more damage because you get the double pump on the combo keyword. So yes,
Yep.
this is technically coming in for it'll be 5, then plus that 2 would be a total of 7. 7 0 cost 7. Go again, Josh.
Yeah, that's that
pretty
sounds
okay, right?
I call that super Easter egg. Well, here's Ninja Super Easter egg coming in for 7. Jack saying, "Really? Yeah, really." Got 4 friends backing it up at the moment. He's got a pair of Art of War buddies and a pair of 100 Win buddies.
And then the Tiger will have the Shuko trigger on it, so it should be coming in for 3.
Yeah.
2 from the Art of War, 1 from the Shuko, and then just a couple Zephyrnators for another 4, and then another 6 on the end. I mean, just so much damage, which is going to get a card from Jack's hand, which is the most important.
Yeah. Now, I'm pretty sure in his arsenal is Reckless Swing, so he could take a little bit of a risk. Just, play with a 3-card hand. Either way, if he doesn't do that, he's going to have to give 2 cards. So, and this, this is
the fact that Rhinar has to come off 2 cards and send players at 16 effective life of 22.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to crystal ball it, but I just don't see an out.
Yep. And I mean, if Blood Rush
unless the Blood Rush Bella survives, the Blood Rush Bella has to survive to even have a chance.
Yep. This game could end in a very anticlimactic way. Let's find out. Okay. All right.
Okay.
We live another day. 14. And Jack goes down to 1, and he'll be able to play a Blood Rush Bella off 3 cards. Obviously not ideal. Because
I think that is unfortunate because he really wanted to keep the Savage Feast. The reason Savage Feast is so good with the beaten trackers and the Sash specifically is you can technically have a 0 cost 8 with Go Again or gaining the action point to get Go Again. So at least Jack had the opportunity to secure his blue. That is a very fortunate aspect of it because that's obviously going to be very important to fuel the claws, which is kind of like the easiest type of play.
All right. 1 card has been intimidated. And now it's just time for some math. What is the best way to use the 2 cards that he has in hand? Looks like Jack is going to go with the Claw to start. If he draws a blue and a 1 cost, that would be the most ideal. Looks like a Swing Big and a blue. I think that's
I think it's going to be Claw into Pop Sash and then Swing Big for 10. It seems like it's not the most exciting way to use Sash, but when you're at 1, I don't think you're going to get a whole lot more out of it.
Yep. Traverse blocking and going to grab the energy that he transcended off of last turn. Effectively replacing a card. So back up to 4 cards in hand, I believe. Claw again. And I mean, the Swing Big's going to come in for 10. So given the armor situation, this is going to be a card. And that's multiple Transcend cards.
I think it does have a Levels of Enlightenment, if I'm not mistaken, which is an easy 3 block to give up, knowing you have a bunch of blues. So I think it is going to make it a much closer game, but it's not Still not an ideal situation because you could just block 3 plus the armor here for 5, go down to 3. You're still out of
Reckless swing
reckless
range. Yep.
range. Yeah.
And Nathan, Kodachi lock is pretty good, but Zephyr Needle lock even better.
Even better. I do understand the thought process on kind of like, do you really want to give up that Shuko? Because you can close the game out if you can play another one cost attack because the tiger is going to produce another breakpoint, which is a whole nother card.
Mhm.
Maybe that's actually not the case because there is
There's
is
one
there one
block on
counter on
the.
Apex?
No, that I think is broken.
Broken. Okay, then yes. Then
Maybe not actually.
the,
He probably would
the
have flipped it over, but
right, the tiger coming in for one could or could not be
I mean
impactful.
this is Jack's second turn, so I don't even think he had two opportunities to block on it. So
That's fair. That's a
I
fair
I
point.
think he has one more block on that, but we'll see. Looks like Shuko gonna be giving up. Curios gonna drop down to 3, stay out of that all important reckless swing range. Now here's the thing. I I mean we saw one reckless swing. Jack probably just has. There's a possibility he only runs one. So we'll see. When I used to play him in Hong Kong, he was running 2, but times can change. All
You're
right.
telling me the man that runs Eye of Ophidia doesn't have 2 reckless swings? Come on, John.
Yeah, you got me there. All right, 4 card plus Arsenal from our Zen player Curious. Gonna start off with a spinning wheel kick. And Jack has to give a card plus Apex to stay alive. Gonna generate a Might token, but I don't think he's gonna be able to use that Might token because he's gonna have to give his whole hand. Zen
Yeah,
activation.
I think you can just get another spinning wheel kick, make it 5, or even a bonds line would
Mhm.
more than do it, depending on what the hand texture is. But even like an easy line, like a double spinning wheel kick, right? You come in for 5, that gets 2 cards, and all you have to do is needle, needle, and you win.
Mhm.
So no matter what the hand texture really is, I don't really see a way out and
Yeah.
this definitely does it.
Yeah, and bonds from the arsenal. All right, Curios Mac is the 2024 Hong Kong PTI Plus event winner. Congratulations to him. Uh, yeah, well, Nathan, Zen is a real deck in Blitz too. Who would have known?
Who would have guessed that?
Yep, it seems pretty good. All right, guys. Well, get out to your skirmishes. Play some Rhinar, play some Kayo, play some Dash, play some Zen. You can't go wrong. They all did very, very well at the PTI Plus event in Hong Kong. Yeah, go play some more Flesh and Blood, guys. Hope you
There you
guys
go.
enjoyed this little bonus content. We'll see you guys later.